And what's interesting, when I looked at the commentary, I wouldn't have gotten here myself, that this is, at least one commentator said, the only time in all of the Old Testament where nakedness is spoken of positively. Everywhere else it's attributed to poverty or it's attributed to weakness. But here we see it is lifted up as a good thing. And of course we know that nakedness is no longer going to be tenable in not that long. The sin's going to happen, and being clothed is a way of hiding our sin, hiding our shame. But for this brief moment, there is no suspicion. There's no reason to be tempted by another or to take more than what belongs to us. There's this moment of perfect harmony. And we see in that maybe a strange place, honestly, Clint, a strange place to sort of end this part of the creation story. In the first makes sense, God rests at the end of the first story. But this story, we end with this relationship that is lifted up. And now we leave with this kind of statement of vulnerability that here they are, they're both naked, there's no shame, and that then becomes the kickstart to the next story that we know is going to introduce shame into the story.
I think this is a very interesting verse because it says something not only about the man and woman relationally. They have nothing to hide from one another. They're not trying to impress one another. The way that clothing sometimes functions, it also says a great deal about the garden. They're in no threat from the garden. They don't need a protective outer layer. That they are both with the creation and with one another safe. There's no shame. There's no hiding. None of that we will see in the next story on the backside of their disobedience. None of that yet exists in the creation or in the created. And I think, that's a beautiful picture. We've said this numerous times, but this story, it's interesting how chapter 1 and chapter 2 get to similar places, but by very different routes. And this story is much more earthy.